Welcome to Off the Rickshaw, the podcast where three South Asian millennials slow down, speak up, and sound off. We're not here to decode our culture for the algorithm. We're here to live it, question it, and laugh through it. From family feuds to fasting habits, generational baggage to gym guilt, this is where heritage meets hot takes. We're the ones who grew up with the turmeric in our milk and the samosas in our lunchbox, and the aunties telling us we look too healthy, but not in a good way. Trying to take care of our bodies while unlearning what health should look like. Brown Kid Edition. Today's episode, we're talking physical health and nutrition. From body image in brown households to the chaotic relationship our culture has with food, fitness, and fad diets. Can you be fit and desi without giving up butter chicken? Why is self-care still taboo if it doesn't come from a home remedy? And how do we define health when skinny was praised but no one actually talked about strength? So if you'd ever had been ghee shamed and gym avoided, or questioned if yoga was still yours after all the influencers took it, this one's for you. Hop in, take a seat. This is Off the Rickshaw. Let's ride, boys.
Let's ride.
So, let's kick it off for the listeners. Let's break it down. Let's level set. Maybe Samir, will start off with you. Growing up, what did being healthy mean in your house? What did you do? What did your mom do for you? What did your parents do for you?
Honestly, I had no template. Like, my dad nor my mom really did much. I mean, my dad, a little bit. He was very sporty. He was very much into, like, racket sports and stuff like that. My mom, not as much. Just recently, she started getting more into, like, going for walks and stuff. But
by recently, you mean, like, now?
Yeah, like, just within the last few years. But growing up, there was nothing there. There was no blueprint. There was nothing for me to be like, okay, this is a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, no, same. My parents didn't really emphasize like health or anything. I mean, like obviously they encouraged us to be sporty, and we like went for like soccer and played in Gold Cup and all that. But growing up, not really. There wasn't any much of an emphasis on health or nutrition or anything like that. It's actually been me who's kind of been, now that I've learned a lot of stuff, to kind of like push them to be actually healthier and eat better. So as they've gotten older. So yeah, what about you?
When we thought about, first of all, same. I actually never thought about the words nutrition or diet. Like these words never came up. Mm-hmm. I think we were in a constant mode of survival, and I think we talked about this last episode. Yeah. But our priorities were different, right?
Right.
Coming into this country as immigrants, our priorities were not we gotta build and go to the gym. Whenever we did go to play sports, though, we always thought about it in the sense of let's go and have fun.
Yeah, that's
right.
What
So
it was,
for through community, even when you talk about Gold Cup, which for those who don't know is like a community soccer event, whenever we went to those type of events, it was when we would meet friends, meet community, honestly kick a ball around with friends that you've hung out with in a really long time, and so. I always thought about it as we're just doing something fun, and I never actually thought about it as I'm going to go and get fit or like anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we also need to hone in on that, because the things that we do that are sustainable are fun, right?
Yeah,
so like even for us nowadays, we can't just go to the gym and like we shouldn't be doing things that we don't enjoy. So I think we need to be doing.
So when did you start thinking? When did you start thinking about your health, like and not just what you were told to do, but I'm going to take control of what I am and who I am and what I'm going to do about it.
For sure, yeah. I think I got into it very late compared to some of my friends, but I would say it was around like maybe 2019, 2020 is when I really started to be committed. I think. In university, I had phases when I would be like on and off, and then even after university, it was on and off. But I think from 2019, and especially during COVID time, 2020, when there was nothing going on, I bought a mat, like a yoga mat from Amazon. I just set it up, and I would just do home workouts every single day because there was so much time.
So you're talking about your late teens. Let me ask you. Go back to grade 7 gym class.
Yeah.
Like I remember the food rainbow coming out.
Oh yeah.
Right, and they used to tell us, ask for the rainbows of how much of each color you should have. Now I can't remember it, but it used to be like red, yellow, green, blue, and then at the bottom you had your proteins, your nuts that you should be having. You weren't thinking about I should be having one of these, or even in gym when you're doing suicides
Or the beep test.
or the beep test. Like you're not thinking about it at that point yet.
No, not at all. I think, nutrition especially, I didn't start getting into until probably closer to the COVID time too. I think that at that point I was like, okay, let's focus on my fitness, let's focus on my diet.
Yeah.
I think that's when I started maturing.
So by the late teens, you want to say that's when you double down on it. Late teens. How about you? When did you start thinking about your health and what it meant to you?
I think it was when I started to put on like some more size and mass. So I think when I think just before COVID is when I really started to like think about my health, because when I was putting on mass, I didn't realize that I was also I was getting a lot more like acid reflux and a lot more issues because of the weight that I was putting on. So then I was kind of at that point where I started to really like dig deep into like nutrition and like medication and health and all that, and we can talk about it a little bit more later on.
But set the scene, Hussein. Like ever since I've known you, you've been someone who has stayed. I've never actually seen you overweight or obese. Like, sometimes kids pre-puberty have that phase where they're really chubby, and then you go through those beep tests and suicides, and you also get taller.
Right.
So naturally the fat spreads.
Right.
But I've never actually seen a phase where you were short and chubby.
Yeah. No. So when I was like a teenager, so if you guys remember, I was like barely like 120 pounds. I mean, you could literally blow me and I'd fly across the room. I literally just like fly across the room because I was so skinny. But I then started putting on like more like weight, like as I was getting into my teenage and adult years. And I think even those slight changes to your body can still like throw your whole composition off, because then that's when I started to notice I was out of breath a lot more. It wasn't like healthy weight, because I was at that point I was just eating and just putting on size. So it wasn't like healthy weight that I was putting on. It was just literally fat. And
was that because of stress or because that was of actual intention of doing?
No, that was just intention. Like I wasn't educated on how to actually properly bulk up. Okay. So I was just eating for the sake of eating, just to get calories in. So I went up from 120 up to I think I was like 150, 160 at one point. So when you put on like that much just weight in a short amount of time, obviously your body's going to feel different, and the way you breathe, the way you move is going to be different. So so even though you can still see it, because I was always tall, so it didn't look like I was like obese or anything like that, but you could still feel I could still feel it. And so that's when I was like noticing like a lot of acid reflux issues and like problems like that. And that's when I kind of really started to look a little bit deeper into like nutrition, actually how to eat properly, how to diet properly, how to like go to the gym properly, like how to work out in the gym efficiently and all that. So yeah.
I mean I had a short and kind of chubby phase. I think I was also the shortest amongst all my classes until grade 7, grade 6, grade 7, and then I had a height spurt, and then so as I got taller, kind of I was less chubby and I was more skinny. But when I started thinking about my health more, I don't know if this was social influence as well, but I think it was grade 11, grade 12 when all the gym bros would go into the weight room and start doing this, but not know what they're doing. But you're like, and if you're listening to this audio, I'm like literally doing bicep curls. But you see those gym bros, right? Like grade 11, grade 12. And so I think for me, I started to think about not fitness, but aesthetic, but through weights. In grade 11, grade 12. And I think, although I was not thinking about what that meant for me, I did it off of, and I'm being super candid here, but it was, just to do what they're doing. So, it could be because of, attraction, it could be because of you want to stand out or whatever it is. And so I really don't know if I did it the wrong way back then. Like, in the sense of like what the weights that I was lifting and stuff, I don't know if I did it the right way and if that's affected me now because of how much weight I did then. But then I also gave up. Right, so grade 11, grade 12, and then grade 12 comes around. You want to graduate. You go into university. University is just like a kick in the butt. So you don't really pay attention to it or anything like that. And then third year, you're like, okay, adult mode. Okay, we got to start balancing, prioritizing health. But then in university, I'm not sure if you guys faced this, but I was just a snacker. So and I think that snacking came out of stress. Yeah. So I put on a lot of weight during university. Was that similar to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You wanna
Yeah,
start?
so I mean,
Like the freshman 15 is a real thing.
no,
like,
for
Oh,
sure.
100%.
Especially like I don't know about you guys, but I lived away from home, so not knowing how to cook or anything like that, I was living off of like Michelenas and all these like pizza
Yeah,
pops.
same.
No, I was not eating healthy whatsoever, and so
Pizza pops are disgusting.
they were delicious.
They were
time.
delicious. At the time, it was delicious.
They're
Nah, at the time, it was good, man.
Yeah, it was
At the
really
time,
good.
it was good.
It's quick and easy.
Yeah.
You can't complain.
No,
Yeah.
but I see what you're saying.
So
Frozen food was like.
yeah, I lived off of that.
Yeah.
So yes, whatever it was, I would just eat it. You know, whether it was healthy or not healthy, it was often not healthy.
This is because of high cortisol levels.
Yeah.
High stress levels.
Yeah, stress from like exams and stuff, or just sheer, I think it was just, what else is really there to do? You know,
Yeah.
everyone's just
Yeah.
eating,
Yeah.
studying, and whatnot.
So then, kind of fast forward to kind of now, how much of an emphasis do you place on your nutrition, exercise, and health overall? And when I mean health overall, I mean like your physical, emotional, financial, spiritual. Like how much the concept of health, how much emphasis do you put on it now?
It's become like one of my main identities. Like
Yeah.
I think everything I do now in life, I think with the lens of, is this a healthy way of living?
And so for you, was there a flip the switch moment, like in the sense that and of course we stay within the means of how much we can share, but was there an event or was there a mental breakdown or was there an internal? Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
did you go through something where it was like snap, like I really gotta focus in
For
on it?
sure. Yeah, I think I'm really lucky because I think a lot of people get into health and fitness and all that because out of necessity.
Yeah.
For me, that wasn't the case. I actually looked at my circle around, and there were people that were early on the health and fitness train, and I learned through them. So one of my roommates, when I moved out back in 2019. I looked at them as a guide and resource for how to live a healthy lifestyle. And so when I lived with him, I would see what he was cooking, what he was
Right.
eating, what kind of workouts he was doing. And so I just looked at my friends, and I just I had the guide, the template from them.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you? What's happening?
Yeah, no, for me, it's health and nutrition is like the very core of who I am right now. It's changed the way in which I do groceries too. Like I've cut out all this like processed stuff. I don't really buy frozen stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I buy a lot more fruits and vegetables now. I'm really loading up on like red meat too. I've cut out seed oils. I always look at the ingredients now to make sure there's no like canola oil or any of that processed crap. That's not good for you. I've like shared this with my parents as well. So trying to I still struggle with the 10,000 steps a day that I still struggle with because
There's something about the 10,000 steps too.
it's true. It's proven that it's good.
But also at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of people who are just like, I need to maintain the 10,000.
Yeah,
steps.
yeah,
Like, my
right.
mom, like she's like, if I don't hit the 10,000 steps,
Yeah.
it's a failure day.
No,
To
no,
me- to me, it's like as many steps as you can
You
get.
can do, yeah, exactly, 100%. I agree. So, I think I've still struggled with like the walking part and the cardio part, but like going to the gym is important, like 3 or 4 days a week. I do. I've started getting back. Like I've started with martial arts as well for the past 3-4 years, so that's also helped with cardio. Being in martial arts, so you don't really need to do any walking, to be honest, or anything like that. But
And was there a flip the switch moment for you in that? Like was there a moment?
Yeah,
that-
I think after COVID, like during like the COVID like peak, I can't believe it's been 5 years since like COVID. That's wild to me.
That's wild to think.
But I think when we were all during like lockdown was when I really like flipped the switch because we couldn't go to the gym, which was insane to think about. But we couldn't go to the gym. There was nothing else that we could really do. So being at home and trying to maximize the efficiency of how I worked out and what I was eating kind of was that flip. And then as soon as things started opening up again, that's when I really like invested in like myself. So I joined a martial arts gym. So that was another thing that really got me more into fitness because I realized how much how efficient and you need to be with your health to be able to do martial arts. So I really honed in on that. So.
For me, it's been an emphasis more recently than it was before. There hasn't been a switch the, knock on wood, but there hasn't been anything that I've seen near your family. Well, yes and no.
But you've always gone for like those runs. And,
so running is a core thing of my value. Like I love running, and it's not about more so the actual fitness of running. It's the more mental thing of running. Right. So I think when I run, it just brings me more clarity. For me, I've had a hate and love relationship with the gym, in the sense that I would go there for a week, dedicate myself to a routine habit of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and then the second week it'd be tough. And then the third week it would be tough, and I wouldn't go. Consistency, right? And then the fourth week I'd go back, but I'd do a week again. Yeah. So it's like it's I've struggled so much, and I don't know. It's maybe what I need to try in this kind of new phase of my life is accountability, where like maybe I actually partner up with someone and go to the gym with them and actually like. Because I think that matters. I don't know. Does that matter? Like I think having someone as an accountability partner or a buddy matters. Like when you're doing it alone and you're in your head, you have this limitation.
For sure.
Yeah.
So accountability is key. I don't really go to the gym with anybody, but lately I've been going to F45, which is like a HIIT workout studio, and so it really does allow you to be accountable because there are people, the coaches that are holding you accountable. I would say for you, my recommendation is potentially just doing something that's easier. For me, like when I was like having that on and off again things, I would go all out. I would like really like, to me, I was like, if I'm not doing the most in my workouts, it's not worth it. Yeah. But that's not the truth.
Absolutely.
Like I was saying earlier, it should be fun, and it should almost be not easy, but something sustainable. Yeah. It's something you should be able to be like, okay, I can do this every single day.
Yeah. I think it depends what your goals are. Like if you're actively trying to get bigger and put on size, I think you need to have that weekly push. And that's something that I do. Like I try and train as much as I can to failure with every exercise, and I've noticed that that's actually like gotten me past those like workout plateaus where like you peak and you're not really gaining anything. But like if you're just going there just to like maintain and stuff, then I think maintenance is more than fine as long as you're doing something. Yeah. And you're not just sitting on the couch or just sitting at home and being sedentary. So I think it's important that whatever your aim is, that you try and accomplish it however you can.
One of the things that's something that you said that, and I thought about it immediately, is to ask you: do you work out because of aesthetically how you feel and look optically, or do you do it more so for a different reason, such as strength? Now in today's time, and how has that morphed? Like
when I was like really in like when I was at my martial arts gym. I was training a lot more for strength because you need a lot of strength to be in martial arts.
But candidly, even before that.
Yeah, so before that, it was optics for me. It was optics for me just because I really just wanted to put on like more size and whatnot. So
when you look better, you feel better.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I won't lie. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be there and be like, oh yeah, I did it for myself. Like, you obviously
there's a confidence booster.
It is a confidence booster. So like I did it for myself, but I also did it for the look, right? Because like you look better and you feel better.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong, and it's okay to admit that. Like I feel like people
but shout out to you because I tried to do that. It never worked out.
I mean, you just tried.
Never worked. This guy would just be pumping, and he would look so good.
I think but then it got to the point where I got into martial arts and I realized that like. I was looking better, but I wasn't as strong as I thought I was.
Yeah. And why don't you talk about that difference? Like, what is the difference between having weight versus having strength?
There's a big difference between that. I mean, you can be absolutely jacked and massive, but do you have true strength? You know who has true strength? Like people, like I'm talking about real strength. Are like mountain climbers, like farmers, like people who actually lift heavy. And they don't look like massively jacked, but they have strength. Like that to me is like those kind of professions and those industries where you're constantly like lifting heavy. That is strength. But I mean, anyone can kind of look big, but they may not necessarily have that kind of strength that I'm kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of
I want to hear more about this from you.
It's hard to allude to, but it's hard to kind of explain. But there are bodybuilders out there who I've seen videos of bodybuilders doing comparative lifts with, and the reason I brought up a mountain climber is because they actually had a mountain climber do comparative lifts with the bodybuilder, and the bodybuilder got absolutely destroyed in every single lift compared to the mountain climber, and he was like at least 150 pounds lighter than the bodybuilder.
Wow.
And that comes from just the
lifting yourself
just the
up
strength of and the aesthetic of people who constantly use their muscles for actual like taxing like lifts during their day to day. That builds like strength over a period of time.
Do you think that our social environment has completely redefined what weight training,
100%, 100%.
is? Like talk about that, because I feel like you have big opinions on that because you've been through the journey, and so I feel like you've also gone through the journey of watching influencers bodybuilding and looking good to now watching mountain climbers
and like
trying to So talk about that, because our Western society has given fitness and weight training a whole different perspective.
Like it's interesting because you go to the gym and you see all these like crazy machines and all these like ridiculous stuff, and I'm not saying it's useless or what. I'm not saying it's useless. It's not. They're all beneficial in some way.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why like the traditional and the classic like bodybuilders and the classic like the Arnold Schwarzenegger type people, like they stuck to like the core lifts, like your squats, your deadlifts. Like those are still core lifts that
free weights
that engage a lot of your muscles. And there's a reason why people who go to like prison and like those prison workouts and like the pull-ups and body weight exercises, those are like core classic lifts that people should focus on, because it works out a variety of muscles as opposed to just doing isolated like movements. So those compound lifts are actually a lot more beneficial for overall size and overall strength and mass than isolations. Isolations you can do if you're weak on some muscles and whatnot, but the compound lifts are where you should really be focusing on.
It also kind of makes me want to like pose a question, right? So like what happens if you continuously in isolation work out your biceps, and because you want bigger biceps, but when you're trying to get something from the top of the kitchen cabinet and it's really heavy and it comes onto you and you're lifting it like this, your bicep is not going to save you. Yeah. It's going to be your back muscle. It's going to be your chest muscle. It's going to be your neck muscles.
Exactly.
And so when you're working out, people tend to work in isolations and just do one specific body part, but they forget that you actually need to have a set or combined workout that works all of these different components.
Exactly. And I think what's also important is that even though people may not look like strong, you can never underestimate strength.
Their strength. Oh, that's such a good point.
Like you can look at somebody and they're like, oh, this guy's not really strong. But I've done jiu-jitsu where I've literally outweighed somebody by 30, 40 pounds, and the amount of strength that these people have when you're actually like, wrestling with them, it's insane. Like, so never actually just look at someone and be like, oh, this person doesn't look that strong, because you'll be actually really surprised as to how strong people are, and it's not something that you can tell by your eye or just by looking at someone.
Don't underestimate the power of a common man. So let's on that note, let's bring in some culture into this. So when we think about food, nutrition, physical health, the question is, do you think that South Asian culture promotes or harms healthy living? And personally, my specific stance on this is that there's no right or wrong answer. I think it matters on your where you are. If I'm back home in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and any other South Asian countries, I think I have access to more fresh ingredients. That doesn't mean that it's kind of healthier. It depends on how it's cooked. But the freshness of the ingredients does matter, because what we hear in the Western world is there's more GMO products and there's more. There's a whole thing that we can kind of off-root, like whether like what this means. Like, when they say like they inject our strawberries and they inject it in order because of size, and if you put on the weight, if it weighs more, you're making more money. Like there's a whole thing there. But I do like when I went back to Pakistan in 2018 and I saw the fruits there, they are so small relative to what they are here. Like if you have a banana, like an actual banana is like this big.
I mean, even the chickens apparently are like a lot smaller.
Yeah, and then I see these videos of like these fluids being. Anyways, like you can go into this, but I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Even here, because of our productive environments that we're constantly like looking for instant gratification, we're working in a very quick pace environment where we're not stopping and thinking. We're putting anything in our mouth. Yeah. Right, and so that's my take on it. But kind of, what do you guys think? Does it promote or does it harm healthy living?
I'm going to lean towards promote. The reason I say that is because South Asian culture advocates for a lot of spices, and a lot of the spices that we put is actually kind of really healthy for us. So
Turmeric.
as much as exactly like turmeric and all the other spices that we put. So as much as there are some harmful elements to South Asian culture. Like, we can obviously have a debate about oil and all that, and the grease and whatnot. But I think there are elements of the culture that are actually very beneficial, like the greens and the spices that we do put to add a lot more flavor.
Yeah, I'll go on the opposite end just for the fun of it. My true take is I think it promotes and harms, but just to get a different perspective, I would say it can harm it. I think if you take a look at the global perspective, I don't think Indian diet is up there. Like, you hear about like the top diets out there. There's like the Japanese, Mediterranean. When you think of like a healthy diet, you don't really think Indian, and that could be perspective. It could be reality.
That's a good point.
I don't know what it actually is, but if you think about like our diet of South Asians in the Western world or South Asians, back home. Regardless, there's a lot of carbs, there's a lot of oil. To what you were saying would be in that here in Canada, there are a lot of processed foods. The same things. The chicken, there's a lot of steroids and all. Over there, at least they get the benefit from that. But I think the core of the diet still isn't that healthy. It's a lot of carbs.
In this environment, corporations feed to our routines. So in that environment, and you've gone back home recently, we talked about it in the travel, but what you notice is everything is a lot slower, right? And when it's a lot slower, people don't have the time to go to a grocery store to buy something more instant when you can get a piece of lettuce and be creative into what you want to make it.
Right.
And just eat it, right? Like you over there, you're eating to get energy. Here you're eating sometimes not even knowing that you're eating, just because you're either stressed or you're fast-paced moving or you don't know what you're doing.
Sometimes just for fun, people eat for fun.
Exactly. Where there, you might actually not have that luxury to just go open your pantry cabinet and take out a bag of chips or popcorn. So you're eating heavier foods with more carbs and perhaps more protein at a more routinely level, or even less. Right. Like, you can't afford to have 3 times a meal and you're just having one breakfast and then eating a dinner at
also
night.
Over there, because it's like so like hot over there. Obviously that's going to impact your diet and how often you eat as well, like the cadence of your.
So kind of going down to kind of your take, I think your take. How do we feel about South Asian food being labeled as unhealthy in the West? Because there is a common notion, even if you talk to your other white friends or black friends or whatever it is, sometimes they'll just be like, you guys have so much butter or oil in your foods. You guys are having rice with everything, which is so carb heavy. Our rotis, like, I could sit there and eat 3 rotis, no problem. Like, like, these are heavy carbs. And so how do you feel about South Asian food being labeled as unhealthy in the West?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I just came from a work event, and, we were talking about Indian food, and the things that people talk about when you think about Indian food: spicy, tasty. Like, a lot of people think of Indian food as
really
tasty. It is tasty. But the one thing you don't hear is healthy. Yeah. I've never heard that associated with desi food. And it's a bit sad that that people don't think of our food that way. Now, I don't personally know if it's healthy or not, but it would be great if we could change that. That philosophy, and if we can take those traditional ideas of what diet is and change it how we actually live in the Western world.
How do you feel about the labeling?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and I'll echo those same sentiments. That I've never really heard people say like, oh, I need to have Indian food
unless it's a craving.
Unless it's a craving, or it's like you know what I mean. It's so obviously there's the high salt, the oil, and all that, but again, there are healthy. So elements of it, like especially the vegetarian dishes are a lot healthier.
Oh my god!
But I think for South Asians, we've really misinterpreted portion sizings. I think.
The bindi, the guar, the aloo gobi, like all that stuff is fire. Like, it's really good. Like, you can have that with 2 roti and some yogurt and chef's kiss. Like,
but I also think it comes from ignorance, especially from here in the West. Like, you ask anybody like. To describe Indian food, they'll say butter chicken or whatever. Yeah. Like, there's so much more than just dal and butter chicken. Like, there's a lot more there's a lot more diversity within South Asian culture and cuisine. So I think that's more so coming from ignorance as opposed to education.
Side note: I did some butter chicken in-depth analysis, and it's actually colonial. The concept of butter chicken. It actually came during the British Empire in India. If you're interested, you should actually look into this. It's a very cool story. But yeah,
I've heard a bit about that.
Yeah?
That butter chicken is actually a traditional Indian
It's
food.
not.
It's
Yeah.
very westernized.
Interesting.
yeah. It comes from British India.
Yeah.
So acknowledging kind of what South Asian heritage and the food that comes from there, how has your relationship with food evolved? So I'll talk about my kind of story. I grew up in a very Pakistani household. My mom had exposed me to this aloo gobi, guar, bindi notion very early in my life. The nihari, the payas, the kormas, the karais. I've been exposed to all that. The khichdi, exposed to all of that stuff very early in my life. Until maybe middle school when I started to go to Jack Astor's and Joey's and Milestones and Mandarin, and then in university where I was out most of the day, so I had my burgers and my fries and all that stuff. My relationship with food has completely evolved. There are times where I can't even stand looking at Pakistani food because I'm just like, it's gonna hurt my belly, and just because I'm not used to it as much
right.
as my parents are. Because my parents living in Pakistan, that's all they would have day in and day out. Like in the morning, you wake up and you need to have egg. Like you cannot not have an egg, and it's like it's like a fried egg. Like it's an egg with like crispy roti that's like in butter flipped 3 times. Like it's a mandatory thing. So for me, I think from their perspective, I've evolved. I think I come to appreciate the Western food a lot more. My favorite cuisine, I think we spoke about this in the travel episode, is Mediterranean and Greek. And that's my favorite cuisine. But yeah, for me, it's definitely evolved. How about you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, in my household, all we have is Indian food, and so my relationship with it is like I'm kind of sick and tired of it. so whenever I get the chance, if I'm ever out, I
have anything else.
Yeah, have everything else, and it's really nice that growing up. Especially living in Toronto, where like we have a plethora of like different variety of food.
The diversity of food.
The diversity of food, it's been really great. I've been exposed to so many different types of cuisines, and that's where we learn about different cultures. And we talked about this before, but my top food is Thai food, so you learn through different cultures, and so my relationship, it's been love and hate.
Right.
Yeah.
I still love Indian food, but just in doses. So. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's the same. Like I grew up just eating India, Pakistani food, so that's something I love, and I don't mind having it when I go out because I do enjoy it. So me and my wife actually try and make a lot of India, Pakistani food ourselves at home. So I think it's kind of just realizing how we can like improve upon some of the recipes and make it a little bit more healthier as opposed to the traditional style of cooking. We've tried to refine some of the edges of where we can kind of improve it, but like make sure that it also tastes like fire as well.
Or where it's a little more healthier.
Exactly. So
that's such a good point. So how has the way that you have eaten your food changed relative to how your parents made it to what you're doing now? Like independent cooking, you have control,
right? So
you know what you're putting in it.
So we put a lot less oil. We try not to like fry a lot of stuff. For
parents that are listening, you can make good food with less oil. I can assure you that is possible.
Yeah. So I've become really like scared of like seed oils and all that. So that's been like a huge like fad of mine to like get like rid of seed oils as much as possible. So stop cooking with too much oil, like all this not frying things. So we've tried to refine some of those practices in our cooking.
Salt too.
Salt, I've actually switched to like Celtic salt. Or like Himalayan salt.
Himalayan pink salt.
Like salt is good, but like not like the table salt. I'm talking about like the Celtic or the Himalayan salts, which actually help your body absorb a lot more liquid and water. So I think salt's good, but the right salts you have to have. Like I think there's been this misnomer that salt is evil and just get rid of salt, and that's not technically true. Like your body still needs salts and has to have some of those electrolytes that it can absorb. So
I have recently observed that at home, we went to Costco and got a big tub of the pink salt.
Yes.
And we put it on the counter. It actually you need to put more table salt into food to taste the salt,
Yeah.
and relative to less pink salt and taste more salt. Like there is a very clear differential. Like you have to put for table salt, you have to put a lot in order to taste the salt.
Yeah.
Versus for pink salt, you just put a little bit and it becomes
fine.
salty.
And you're fine. Yeah.
So that's
interesting there. I wonder if it's it goes back to the GMO
the science,
messing with stuff. So I wonder if
I don't know. It could be, but to be honest, pink salt comes from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a higher manufacturing cost. Maybe table salt is much easier to make. You refine it, make it very small, package it very tightly.
That comes back to what you were saying before. It's our everything here is bigger, and it comes down to a lot of it is because of capitalism. These companies are out there. They're not looking for our best interest. They're not looking
we're customers.
Yeah, to us, we're money to them. They're not thinking for let's get Hussein healthy. They're let's make more money from Hussein.
Right.
So relative to this notion, why are we so unhealthy despite all the access to the medicine and information that we do have? And I think this is a question that you brought up.
Yeah.
So I mean, why do you think that is? And I think this is also relative and very personal. You might be listening to this and might be thinking, I'm actually healthy, and that's great. You have cracked the code. But I think we could align that we still practice an unhealthy behavior, and we still have unhealthy foods, knowing that there is information and modern medicine out there that actually debunks a lot of the things that we do.
Yeah, I think as we've become more of a knowledge society, we've actually lost our ability to actually go into that information that's out there and find out what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, well, hear the noise and believe in it.
Exactly. So I think, unfortunately, we've seen a lot more in the rise of diseases, mental health, more abnormalities, unfortunately, at birth for newborns. So, and that's unfortunate because you look at some of the data of people out where I was in Hunza and those areas, and those are some of the healthiest people on earth. So it's and they don't have as much access to some of that information that we do as quickly as we can pull it up on our phones. So it's quite interesting. But as you said, it's all comes down to capitalism, and it's all processed stuff that we're consuming here. That it's just being given out by the masses, which is why we're seeing so many young people now develop different sorts of unfortunate cancers and whatnot. So I think it's important to educate ourselves that on especially looking at the ingredients on everything that you buy, and make sure that you want it to have the least amount of ingredients possible. If you see an ingredient list that's 6 paragraphs long and novel Harry Potter book essay chapters, get rid of that shit, man, because odds are there's stuff in there that you should not be putting in your body. So that's the way I kind of shop now. I just make sure that the ingredients list is as natural and as short as possible.
No, that's a good point.
So that it's not I'm not putting crap in my system. And I think it really comes down to the stuff that we eat.
Absolutely.
The stuff that we eat is what is essentially going to and there are genetic factors. I'm not saying that they're not, but you can control a lot of it with diet and nutrition as well.
There's your normal genetics of things that you will inherit from your parents, and then there's epigenetics.
Of course.
And those epigenetics is the genetics that you amend based off of your current environment.
Right.
And it's the genetics that you have control over that you alter based off of your behavior.
Right.
So you can actually change the trajectory of your genetics from what you've inherited through, and I'm not saying it'll completely 180.
100%.
But you can enough to create a generational
and positively affect it.
And positively affect it.
Right.
So if there's one thing to just immediately give an example of for my parents, my dad is a foodie. He loves food. From a young age, wasn't someone who understood the concept of fitness, as though we are kind of breaking it down now. And foodie, went to work, come home, leisure, evening prayer, go there, come home, sleep, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Now he's come to a point where he actually has been going to the gym straight for the past 60 days.
No, good.
And the day he doesn't go, he actually feels like something is hurting, but it's all in the head. But he's made this habit. Now, I'm alive now. I'm not, right? But watching him makes me want to have that control of, if I'm able to run more, eat better, be more intellectual and actually practice my brain health, right? Like read more and not try to use my phone as often in order to affect my eyes, and then I can actually lead to a positive change, not for me, but for my children in the future. And I think you have control over that.
Oh, of course.
In my mind and through research that I've done, I think the number one, and people are going to debunk me if they listen to this, maybe not, I'm not sure. I'm going to look into it for the scientific side, definitely. But in my opinion, sugar is the number one cause of all disease.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every story you hear, whether it be cancer, whether it be any other disease. Diabetes, number one, obesity, anything.
Sugar.
Carbs do play a role, and body fat does play a role, but sugar. It's like the fructose is, I feel like it is the reason.
Yeah, I would say sugar is a pretty big source of just being unhealthy. I don't know what is like the unhealthiest thing out there.
Right.
Sugar is definitely up there.
100%.
You have your natural sugars,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
which come from your fruits.
Bananas.
But even in today's time, from what I said earlier, what is true, what is not, it's a whole debate. But the artificial sugars that you have through your juice boxes, through the chips that you eat, the desserts that you have, and you know what sucks? Like, I'm saying that sugar is the number one cause of all disease, but I also can't help myself when I see it. You can have it in doses, and I think that is what I try to do. But sometimes when you see it, you just want to enjoy it and have more of it every single time. So, I mean, there's so much that we can talk about in this specific area of physical health, nutrition, diet, and fitness. I think that we should stop here. And try to give everyone who's listening an ability to wait for a part 2, because I feel like there's so many more things that we can talk about. But before we leave this episode, we want to do the rapid fire. And so I'm going to be giving you, and I'll answer these myself as well. These questions, they're, and let's see what we get. So the first question, gulab jamun or ras malai?
Ras malai.
Ras malai.
I'll say gulab jamun. Okay, one thing you'll never give up, health be damned.
Chocolate milk.
Oh, I gotta think about this. It has to be cheesecake.
Ooh.
Cheesecake.
I'm gonna go with chai. I have too much chai and I can never stop having it. I can have unlimited amount. Gym time or nap time?
Oh, that's tough.
Gym time. I never nap, so gym.
Yeah, gym. I would have to say gym.
I'll say nap time. I love sleeping.
Yeah, naps are good, but gym,
Okay,
gym time.
auntie wellness advice that actually slaps.
Oil your hair, bro. Oil your hair.
I don't know if I have one. Come back to me.
Haldi doodh. If you don't know what haldi is, it's turmeric. Drink that ish day in and day out, morning and night. It'll save you for the long run.
For me, it's when you're sick, the honey vinegar.
The honey turmeric.
The honey turmeric, yeah.
Lick that spoon.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap on this ride. Thanks for hopping off the rickshaw with us, where the conversations are chaotic yet comforting, like a family WhatsApp group at 2 a.m. If you laughed, felt seen, or even enjoyed the vibe, show us some love, follow, share, drop a review, or send this to one cousin who always just needs to chill. Got a topic you want us to unpack or a hot take you want to share? Slide into our DMs or hit the link in the show notes. We're listening, even if our parents aren't. Until next time, stay brown, stay loud, and stay a little unfiltered.